Howdy, cunts. It's Tiger Bomb MMA. Tonight we're going over UFC Fight Night. Yan versus Dvalishvili. Give me your thoughts and predictions on the 14-fight bout card taking place. Where is it? In Las Vegas. It says the venue is the Theater at Virgin Hotels. I don't know if they've ever done anything like that there, but I was expecting to be the Apex. But I'm looking forward to the main event. Really, Yan versus Dvalishvili. We've got Aljo's bitch versus Petr Yan. Petr Yan's had like a tough time out as of late, two really close split decision losses. And I'm really looking forward to this main event because it's going to prove a lot of things about both these fighters. If Merab is truly a championship level fighter, or if Petr Yan, I don't know, man. There's a lot of question marks I have about Petr Yan because there was talks about potential rumors of him wanting to leave the UFC. I don't know if those were true or not. And then the co-main event, the Alexander showdown. Well, at least one Alexander has an E at the end of his name. The other one doesn't. It's a great card. So we'll break it down. Let's get started with the first fight of the night, which is at what weight class before I switch over? It is at welterweight. What's funny, Jose, when I'm doing research on these earlier today, like the order of the fucking card gets shifted, so my notes are all jacked up. But we have Carlston Harris versus Abubakar Nurmagomedov. And the odds have it in favor of Harris, minus 145. Come back on Abubakar, plus 120. And let me look at my notes on these two, because I found this one intriguing, mainly because we've got the lesser Nurmagomedov versus a guy who a couple of years ago, last year, I was pretty high on. I think a lot of people were. He fought Shavkat Rakhmonov, who, rest in peace. Oh, God, he really choked the shit out of Jeff Neal last night. But Carlston Harris, he's 35 years old. He's getting up there in age versus the 33-year-old Abubakar. He's going to have the height advantage and the reach advantage. I like this matchup mainly because we get to see where Carlston Harris is really at. Brown belt in jiu-jitsu, very long arms, loves the like Darce chokes and anaconda chokes. He's got a beautiful like pullback right hand. He's very long. I worry about his chin though. I'll let you know, Jose, because like watching him fight, I seen him get clipped a couple times. And yes, he's kind of fought people who are no longer in the UFC, like Christian Aguilar and one of my favorite guys, Impak Sanganai, who's fighting in the PFL here soon. At the opposite end, like I was high on Carlston and I was really low on Abubakar, but as of late, Abubakar has been kind of showing his improvements. Like his striking's gotten better. His stiff jab is something I really like. He's definitely got the wrestling, but his wrestling isn't particularly, at least in my opinion, up to the Nurmagomedov name. Like he leaves himself a little too exposed and he's not overly dominant. Like my worry with this fight, for example, if I want to take a shot in the dog of Abubakar, which I do think he is potentially live for a knockout or a decision. If I were to go with Abubakar, I've seen this motherfucker go for a double leg, but he leaves his neck exposed. He got submitted by the striker David Zawada. Is it David Zawada? Yep. By a triangle. So he's very unreliable for a Nurmagomedov, I'll say. I do think that he has a very good chance to win this fight. I think it's a really close fight. It's a really good fight to start the card. I like Carlston mainly because of his length and his ability to actually shoot for his own takedowns. He's got a black belt in luta libre, so he's got some wrestling to his name. The guy's solid. I do like his ability to go for the chokes. He's definitely got the power advantage here. My worry is the chin, though. Not necessarily because he got knocked out by Shavkat. It's just that he got rocked by Impa and he got rocked by Christian Aguilera. But I do think that he's got the more dangerous skill set. Again, the chin is in question here. I'm going to go with Carlston Harris just because he has that length. I want to see what improvements he made in about a year. I do think that if Abubakar does happen to shoot for a lazy takedown, or if he gets uncomfortable on the feet, he might then shoot for the takedown and boom, Darce City or Anaconda. I guess Darce City, and then there's Anaconda Avenue. So we'll go with that. So I'll go with Carlston Harris. I predict he'll actually get that front choke. So I'll go with the Anaconda submission round number 2.
I'm actually going with Abubakar here. I don't know, just to mix it up, I guess. I don't think I'll actually bet on this fight, even though, I originally was going to bet on it and told me to stay away from it.
Yes, I did.
But but I think I'll probably just put everything I have left on Abubakar.
Okay.
No,
I was about, dude,
no,
like I keep telling you, he's not the Nurmagomedov. Like he's the like you say, Wimp Low from Kung Pao. They trained him they trained him bad on purpose.
yeah.
He's just their punching bag, dude. Which is funny because there's another punching bag from a very popular gym later on this card. But it's kind of what's funny to me. It's like they beat the shit out of Abubakar, and eventually like, oh, that's how you throw a jab. Like he broke my nose with it. Let me throw it, and he's learning to throw it. Like I have to respect the guy for getting his ass beat and then continuing to get slightly better. That's why I'm like, he's a little dangerous, man. He's a little like he beat the shit out of Jared Gooden on the feet, dude. When Jared Gooden's supposed to be a striker, he fucked him up. It was embarrassing for Jared Gooden. That's why I was like, keep an eye on Abubakar. But I am not man enough to take the shot on the underdog here. So if you end up taking a shot, I wouldn't blame you at all.
I'll probably do like a $1 long shot parlay and just just because the first part of his name is one of my favorite Simpsons characters as well. So, or is it Apu?
It's Apu. Yeah.
Oh, damn it. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so probably stay away from it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll still go with him just for the sake of making a choice. But this is like I think it's a pretty close fight. I don't think Carlton Harris is all that much better than him. But I think, like you said, Abubakar is, improving ever so slightly with each fight. So I think here is going to be, he's going to take another step toward, earning his Nurmagomedov stripes, or whatever they have in Dagestan. So I'll go with him to win by decision. I'll say he maybe gets 2 rounds on the ground of not domination, but at the very least, looking like
mythical control time that everyone loves.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fuck, dude. I hate control time very much. So decision. Let's move on. Next fight, flyweight. We've got the return of one of my favorite guys. We've got Little Bulldog Bruno Silva versus Tyson Nam. Bruno Silva minus 165. Come back on Tyson Nam plus 135. I was like, where the fuck was Bulldog? Bruno Silva, like it's so much annoying because like when you type in Bruno Silva on like Google, it brings up the middleweight Bruno Silva, which is like that's yesterday's news. I want Little Bulldog Bruno Silva, and I guess he's been away. He last fought almost 2 years ago. He had let me check my notes. It was like a foot injury that he had to get fixed. He had a ankle surgery, so he was away due to ankle surgery. So automatically I'm staying away from this one betting wise just because it's like very questionable. Since we last saw Silva, he was getting shit together. He had a really close fight with Tajir Ulanbekov, which I thought he won. I will stress that as much as I fucking can. I thought he beat Tajir Ulanbekov. And ever since then, it's like that performance rolled over to his next fights. He beat the shit out of JP Buys in front of his wife, which I think the cucking aspect of him cucking JP just kind of triggered something in Cheyenne. So I blame Bruno Silva. And then he beat the shit out of Victor Rodriguez, which is like, oh, cool. He's getting his punches in. He's progressing ever since he's kind of been training at Fight Ready. You can just see the progress that he's been making. He's more comfortable. He's more confident. I don't know if he's going to be the same guy after almost 2 years away. Like I'm curious. Tyson Nam, he's always been a guy that like I respect the shit out of. Like he's been fighting for a long time. He's 39 years old. He's going to be the taller guy by 3 inches and the 2-inch reach advantage. The guy is essentially just a fucking beautiful right hand. And that's really all I can say about Tyson Nam. He's super tough. Do not get hit by that right hand. There's easy ways to beat Tyson Nam. And I think Bruno Silva can definitely implement those strategies, just kind of popping and moving, like hitting him, staying away, going for takedowns, mixing things up. Just do not get hit by that right hand. Tyson, even going back and watching tape on him, because I'm like, how can Bruno Silva fuck this up if I bet on him? There's a lot of ways, man. I've seen Tyson Nam. He fought Ali Bagutinov, former UFC fighter. He fought Demetrius Johnson for the belt long time ago. He is beating the shit out of Tyson. He's easily winning this fight. A second left. he makes a mistake by keeping his hands like low as he's against the cage. And with 1 fucking second left, Tyson Nam blasts his fucking face off with a kick, and he loses the fight. That's why I'm like, Tyson Nam, say what you want about the guy. He's 21-12, but he's to be respected despite his age, almost being 40 years old. He looks fantastic for 40. I don't like the fight in the sense of gambling, period. I think it's just too many question marks. Bruno Silva can come out here, and although Tyson Nam has a really solid chin, I've seen him get knocked out by Marlon Moraes. If Bruno lands, I worry about, say, taking Bruno by decision, which I think. I don't know if he can really hold down Tyson Nam. Tyson's very explosive. Like, he can pop back up. I really didn't see a lot of tape on Tyson kind of getting grapple fucked. And Bruno being a smaller guy kind of worries me. I'll go with Bruno Silva by decision just because I think his progress has been getting better at Fight Ready. They're better at coming up with solid game plans. It's just I want no part of it just because Tyson Nam is really a mystery sometimes. Like if he connects on you, if you get lazy, if you make a mistake, he can blast your fucking lights out. So I'll go with Bruno Silva by a decision. It's mostly like I just want to see what happens. I want to see Bruno Silva back in the UFC and how he performs, and we'll see what Tyson Nam has to offer to him. But ever since he blasted the fuck out of Ode Osborne, I'm like, I'm gonna stay away from any fight with Tyson Nam in it because I know how he can get beat. I know how easy it is to beat the man. It's just that he is such a wild card. He's like TNT, ready to fucking explode. So Bruno Silva decision, but I'm staying away.
I'm actually going with Tyson here. I think the almost 2 years away, Bruno Silva isn't John Jones. He's not going to come in here and win the fucking belt like, he was in there yesterday with, what's his name? Predominant high school athlete, now turned.
You're talking about Reyes? Because that's the athlete.
Yeah, Reyes. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking.
Yeah.
Dude, I have to say, I think we all knew that John was capable of doing that. I did not expect him to make it look that fucking easy. I was like, huh. Well, that fucking sucks. I thought at least, I'm like, hey, Gon, make it a little tougher for the man. Don't just like stay in front of him. But I guess I'll give John credit. He walked his ass down and got a hold of him real quick. And I'm like, huh. Maybe Gon should have not been playing FIFA all this time instead of training.
Yeah, it's. I think it was more Gain. He made it look easy, not so much John. He made it look like, like, oh hey, and why am I gonna bother? Why should I bother training grappling? He's probably gonna want to fight me. Nope. But yeah, I don't think, at least here, I don't think Silva's going to come in like, he never left. I think he's going to be a little bit rusty. He might win the third round, might win the first round, but I don't think he'll win 2 rounds. So I got Tyson Nam, just odds are close, and I think it will be a close fight, but I think at this point Tyson just has the, like his mojo is still intact from having fought 6 months ago. So I think he's going to just win 2 rounds, get the decision, and move on.
All right, let's move on to the next fight, which is at bantamweight. We've got Tony Gravely versus Victor La Mangosta Henry. Currently, Victor Henry is minus 145. Come back on Gravely. I always get them mixed up. Gravely, plus 120. And I have opinions on this one, and I might be potentially wrong. And I've been wrong before. Like I'm considering putting a bet on one of these guys. But I'll start off with Gravely here. Gravely is an interesting character. Like if you know how to use the guy, and I'm saying this almost like they're fucking video game characters. Like if you know how to use the guy's skill set, you can definitely make money off of him. Like he's a powerful grappler. He's got better and improved striking, a good right hand, good wrestling. He's very dynamic. But he tends to slow down, and you can get the better of him on the feet. Definitely, if you push the pace on him, you can gas him out. You can get him tired, attack the body. You can even get your takedowns on him. And what he is 50, where are we at here? 5.5. I just went a little stupid here. He is 5 feet 5 inches compared to the 5'7" of Victor Henry. He's going to have a slight advantage on the feet on the striking reach, 1 inch. When it comes to Gravely, I can't necessarily consider him too much of a threat in this situation against Victor Henry. Victor Henry, I know he shut the bed against Henry Assuncao. God damn it, Rafael Assuncao.
Yeah.
Rafael Assuncao. Who the hell's Henry Assuncao? He shut the bed against Assuncao, but I think in that particular matchup, it was just the style of Assuncao. Like, he was very much a cautious counter striker. Victor's more of a counter striker himself. Like, he couldn't necessarily get the wrestling off. I think really it came down to Assuncao having a really good game plan and being a veteran of the sport to kind of stifle Victor Henry, who was coming off of a fantastic win over Raoni Barcelos. And I'll tell you what I like about Victor Henry. And if you can guess already, I'm considering putting a bet on him. He's got the catch wrestling background, Josh Barnett trained. He's got good head movement. He's got great cardio. He's very well rounded. Like, he's 35 years old, and I'll get to the reason why I bring up his age. And he's paid his dues outside the organization. He's fought some really good people. He's beaten a lot of good people outside the UFC. The guy is fucking solid, right? He's good on the ground. He's good on the feet. He's got the gas tank. But when I bring up his age, it's like I worry about his best years being behind him, because like he might have spent all of his like talent and all of his like youth outside the UFC, and now there might be a possibility that could be slowing down. Like, it did concern me a little bit that, like, coming off of the Barcelos performance, going on to the Assuncao performance, it was like, what the fuck? That's not the same dude. But like, when thinking about it, like, Assuncao, fucking great veteran. He only lost to some top competition, and he was getting finished by them. But in this situation, like, he kind of changed his game plan a little bit. And Victor Henry wasn't really expecting it. He was just kind of being super patient on the outside and countering the counter striker. With Victor Henry in that particular matchup, he didn't necessarily have the firepower to really hurt Assuncao. So I think that's kind of the reason why he looked kind of bad. In this fight, though, I think Victor Henry is going to have every advantage. Whether he gets taken down in the first round, I think he's got the guard and the wrestling and the catch wrestling and period to threaten off of his back, try to get back up. Eventually, he's going to tire out Tony Gravely. Victor's going to use his length with the kicks because he is the taller guy to attack the body. I see this almost like a very similar fight to the Bashrod fight. Like, Tony had a good moment in there, but then he slowed down, and then Victor Henry's going to take over just like Bashrod did, using the same type of game plan. When it comes to, say, if Tony Gravely takes down Victor Henry, I think his ground game he's fucking legit, man. The guy can reverse you. He can take your back from the bottom. The guy is really solid. And say if he can't get back up, he's going to make it difficult on Tony and definitely try to gas him out. I like Victor Henry in this fight a little too much. Again, I'm considering putting a couple units on the guy at -145 because I get that feeling like he's going to really, really perform against Tony and possibly get him out there late, maybe in the second or third round. Like, if Victor Henry starts getting off on you and you just don't have the firepower or the cardio to get away, I think he's got a really good shot to really hurt Tony and make him drop to a knee and finish him off against Cage. So I'm going to go with Victor. I'm going to say he just wins this one by decision. I'll be very safe with it, but I think he's just the overall better fighter. The only concern I have is if like Tony just grapple fucks him, but I don't think that that's going to happen. I've seen Victor fight some really good grapplers, and he was able to reverse him and actually come back and really put it on him later. I think if I remember correctly, let me go back because I always get it confused. I know he fought, what's his name? Kyler Phillips, but I for whatever reason thought he lost to Kyler, but no, he actually beat Kyler. I think that's the fight I'm thinking of where he got dominated in the first round, came back and just put it on Kyler to win the split. The guy's solid, so I'm going to go with Victor Henry by decision. I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes him late, but let me know, like, seriously on this one, because like if I'm fucking nuts and I'm missing something, like Tony Gravely's been taking his Nugenics and he's fucking ripped and he's like got a great cardio tank now, I would be worried. But I'm very much expecting him to gas the fuck out in the later rounds and Victor to take over. So comment below if you think I'm in danger here.
No, I think Tony's been taking his ICO Pro, You know,
Ooh,
and,
that's an old ass reference.
Yeah.
What is this? 1993.
Yeah, it's he's been taking his ICO Pro, and he's ready to go, man. He's ready to show Taz and all those guys what's what. Yeah, this one's pretty close. I would say short of Tony, like really. I mean, I would say he does have the advantage here in terms of being the slightly shorter guy. He's going to be able to, at least maybe in the first round and a half, be able to shoot for the takedown and maybe get it. But if he doesn't do shit with it, if he's just shooting for takedowns for the sake of shooting for takedowns, he's going to get exhausted and get his ass beat after like the second, after that round and a half. So I would say, yeah, you're right. Victor Henry's probably going to get maybe the later two rounds. I would say the first round's probably going to go to Tony Gravely. He's going to, he's going to, I don't want, maybe dominate's too strong a word. But he's going to wrestle fuck him for a round, maybe a round and a half, almost getting there. But then I think he's going to just tire himself out because I don't think he's going to really do anything. I don't think he's going to transition into like the walls of Jericho or some shit while they're on the ground.
You know what's funny about that, dude? Victor Henry has a tattoo on his right shoulder or whatever deltoid that is of a guy doing a walls of Jericho on somebody. It's funny that you say that. He's a catch wrestler, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, because I just saw that on Instagram. Like this guy pull off the walls of Jericho in a fight, like a legit fight, not fucking not Jake Gyllenhaal filming fucking I don't know what the fuck. I was confused. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? But anyway, yeah, fuck Jake Gyllenhaal.
He is the finest actor of the United States at this time, Jake Gyllenhaal. Did you know? Do you know how method he is, dude? Like he is so method that for Brokeback Mountain, well, let's just say that he can no longer fart anymore. Just like whistles.
Yeah, no. Well, I would say it's more like those Australian what do you call
them? Didgeridoos.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I'll go with the Victor as well.
Henry. Ooh, next fight. JJ Aldrich versus Ariane Lipski. Minus 240 for Aldrich. Come back on Lipski plus 200. Lipski is unreliable. Like she quit against Cachoeira. She QWIT against Cachoeira. And I was like, come on, man. Like the girl can't grapple for shit other than getting like the occasional knee bar on Luana Carolina. What are you crunching over there?
Nothing.
Yeah. JJ Aldrich, the more complete fighter. She's going to be able to get the takedown. She's, I think, better on the feet. She's just better, period. I've seen Lipski get dominated by Antonina Shevchenko. Get her ass beat by Antonina. I don't trust Lipski. Don't bet this fight. I got Aldrich second round knockout. Just going to get on top of her and knock her beautiful teeth in.
Damn it. Now you're going to hear me crunch. I was actually expecting a longer breakdown, so...
No. I can keep talking. Let me put you on mute while you eat. Lipski's hot. She's very, very attractive. Continue.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Lipski's too hot not to bet on.
No, that's true.
So, yeah, I wish it could be, I wish that's the way it was. Otherwise, what's her name?
Aldrich.
Yeah, Jessica Pena would be champion right now. If that were the case.
True. You know, have you heard or seen anything about how JJ Aldrich looks like that one lady cop who banged all those dudes on the force, who like had a multiple gangbangs? Looks just like her apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Or maybe it is her. She was just stunt doubling for her or something.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
There's a joke there about her taking punishment that I cannot formulate right now.
Yeah, here I really have nothing to add or to say. I mean, it's lose-lose. You know, even if JJ Aldrich does win, it's a lose-lose proposition. You know, who really wants to see her win? I mean, it's nice that she's providing. I don't know, is she a mom or something? You know, it's nice that she's providing for her family if she is a mom. If
No
not,
clue.
then
let's just say I didn't look up her Instagram.
Yeah,
I looked up Lipski's though. She looks like she's in shape.
Really? Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up afterward.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything at all. I'll go with the over here. I think this is going the distance. And Aldridge is probably going to win because Lipski, I don't know. I don't know why she doesn't have an OnlyFans just yet. She should.
Give it time, my friend, after she loses this fight.
Probably. Yeah.
Next fight is taking place at bantamweight. We've got Mario Bautista versus Guido Ninja Canetti. Guido is plus 600 to come back on Mario, minus 900. So off the bat, betting Mario is just off the table. You're going to have to prop the shit out of this one. Money line, that is, you don't bet Mario money line. Definitely the under is the play here, whether it be the under 2.5 or under 1.5. This shit's not going the distance if it is. And may God have mercy on us all. But really not much to talk about here. Really, Mario Bautista is going to be too strong, too good. The only thing I have to say about Mario is that like he has his black belt in jiu-jitsu, and it almost seems like he is so desperate now to show it off. Like he is like wanting to submit people, and I respect that. Like he's good on the feet, he's good on the ground now. The guy he's going to be too much for Guido, and Guido as of late he's got 2 wins in his record in the last.
Looking at that.
Yeah, he beat. I don't want to say. Let me choose my words carefully. He beat younger men in the UFC, men that realistically he should not have beaten, and that's kind of where I got like the idea. Like, is this guy on eugenics? Is he feeling better than he did in his 20s? Like, what the hell? He's like 42, 43. Jesus, the guy is super dynamic. He kicks hard, he hits hard, but he's so wild in there. That's the best way I can put it. But he gets the job done. Like, but the thing is, he's not beating quality people. He beat Chris Montino, which had the referee not stopped it early. I mean, I'm not saying it was an early stoppage, but Chris was still standing. And Randy Costa, poor Randy, man. I don't want to talk about Randy, but yeah, Guido is probably going to get his ass beat in this fight and get submitted in the second round. I say second round because Guido's so good in the first round that there's a really possible chance that he might possibly knock out Mario Bautista. He's not going to submit him. He might knock him out. He's been knocked out before, but that was kind of like that was mythical one punch power Trevin Giles, or not Trevin Giles, Trevin Jones. But yeah, I definitely see submission in Mario Bautista. I don't know if he's going to be able to like say knock him out. I think if he gets on top of him, he's going to go for the rear naked choke. So I'm considering propping him up with Mario Bautista submission. I'm probably going to put him on a parlay, either under or Mario Bautista, either first or second round. This shit ain't going to third, but definitely Mario Bautista's going to potentially really, really hurt Guido Canetti. Like I like how they're giving Mario like baby steps, like little baby steps. They give him Benito Lopez. Funny enough, Brian Kelleher, like how do you go from Brian Kelleher, a guy who's respectable, he's a good fighter, and they give him the returning, what car salesman Benito Lopez, like that was bad. Like I get why they're giving him Guido, but like Guido and Mario should not be matched up, but it's to our benefit because we get to see Mario beat the shit out of him. So I'll go with Mario by second round submission.
Yeah, Guido, his last 2 wins. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, I understand Chris, but Randy, it's like, what the fuck? Yeah. That's kind of like, sorry, hang on one second.
Yeah, poor Randy Brown, or not Randy Brown. What's his name? Randy Costa. That was honestly, I like Randy. He seems like a okay dude, but that was really embarrassing. Like no hooks, rear naked choke. Like he, like I hope. I'll just say this. I hope he gets the help he needs.
Not poor him. Poor whoever the fuck bet on him. That's what I feel sorry for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going with fuck man. I swear these fucking bookies make betting on actual favorites a bitch. Because it's like if you actually bet on them, then you have to go deep to make any real money. Fucking betting what $50 on them is gonna get you jack shit. You get you like $3. And what if fucking Canetti jumps on him in the first round, man? That's a bitch.
Yep. That's why we take the under, boys and girls.
Wow.
God, like what's his face? Bo Nickel. Did you see that fight at all, or did you not have the proper motivation?
Yeah, no, I saw it.
That was interesting because like boy talks a lot of shit about like, oh, I'm this and I'm that, and I'm motherfucker, you're minus 2,000, and I saw bad things in that fight. Like he could not get the arm triangle properly. It was just kind of suspicious. Like he got the job done, and like everyone and their mother bet the under. Like I think it was like minus 3 something, which was better value than the minus 2,000 on betting this idiot. But like,
well, what I saw was Jamie Pickett taking a dive. He was just kind of there. He wasn't even fighting it. He's just kind of like, "Come on, man!
Like just do it." Fucking, like it has to look convincing.
Yeah, he's like, he's like, it's on you, man. You gotta fucking just throw your leg over it and just move to the right.
I think fucking funny, dude. Like, hey, get your leg over, get to side right now, start cranking.
Yeah, he's like, crank, motherfucker, crank. And then because he's just like kind of he's not doing anything. He's just kind of laying there, like expecting him. And I was like, what the fuck?
You know what's funny? When he was going for that choke, the arm triangle, like I've been in that situation where I was like doing it poorly, like piss poor back in the day. I was trying to choke some dude and I was using nothing but arms and I wasn't using leverage and I wasn't using my shoulder. So I understood like, oh dude. But then I realized like he should not be doing this. Like, what the fuck? Like, I understand me doing it poorly, but him doing it poorly was like suspect. Like, it's like, fellas and ladies, are you going to expect me to go out there and submit Jamie Pickett? I don't fucking think so. Like at minus 2,000. So yeah, that was a little concerning. So like going forward, I might just kind of like chill out on Bo Nickel because like the whole thing is like, yeah, we can get the money on the under because he's always trying to submit or knock people out easily. I don't know if it's going to be that easy next time. Those takedowns were getting stuffed up until that knee tap or I guess the nut tap and then the knee tap because he popped him in the nards. What's his name? Jamie Pickett. He got hit in the nuts and then that's when the takedown happened.
Oh, nuts.
Yeah.
Damn.
Where were we? Oh yeah, Guido. Guido could potentially get a submission.
Yeah, probably not, but I mean, at these odds, it's like, fuck, man, these fucking odds makers, I swear, they fuck with you on purpose. And I mean, it's not even a huge fight either. It's like, what the fuck? That's what pisses me off about these goddamn bookies. But anyway, I'm going with Bautista. What, TKO, second round or some shit?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, Guido's got a chance. He Randy Costa, so anything's possible.
Like, yeah, Guido's super dynamic, but it's just like the likelihood of being able to maintain that type of power and pace in the second round, if it gets extended, that's why he's like Batista's minus 900. But let's move on to the next bout at middleweight. We've got Sadiqris Dumont making his UFC debut against Josh Fremd. And the money there, just so
they spelled his name wrong.
I did.
No, I think they spelled his name wrong.
Sadiqris.
Fremd.
Fremd. Nope, Josh Fremd. The reason for the dollar bills, if you don't know already, I guess there was some controversy because Sadiqris was asked if he can do an interview, and he's like, "All right, just PayPal me $100 or something." And the guy's like, I usually don't charge for interviews. I don't pay for interviews. He's like, go fuck yourself. I thought that was pretty funny. Like the dude's asking for money for interviews, even though he hasn't made his UFC debut, and he's like 7-0. But the kid is 27 years old. The comeback on Josh, he's 29. They're both relatively tall. Josh Fremd is a really tall middleweight, to the point that I think he might actually be suited better at light heavyweight. But he's kind of got like a weird slender frame. He's going to have Fremd that is the height advantage by 2 inches, but to decrease, he's going to have the reach advantage 79 inches compared to 76.5 for Fremd. This one is fascinating. Dumas, the Reaper, is minus 140 comeback on Fremd. The Big Yins, Jesus Christ, plus 115. That nickname pisses me off. It's fascinating. Josh is a solid guy. He's a good striker, trains out of Elevation Fight Team or whatever. I cannot forgive him for what he did against Tresean Gore. And the year was 2022. I was vacationing in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I was stopping at a Walmart. I was looking for a particular item, and I had my money on Josh Fremd. Josh Fremd was supposed to easily beat Tresean Gore. Tresean Gore, obviously, kind of chinny and didn't have a proper training camp or proper team. And Josh was looking kind of shitty. He was getting taken down in the first round, but later in that round, he is coming back and he's landing good shots. And in my eyes, I thought he had won and edged the first round. The second round comes out, and he is thoroughly dictating the pace against Tresean Gore, pushing him back, kind of landing good shots. And he decides, boy, howdy, it'd be a swell idea if I go for a takedown. Goes for the takedown, gets his neck caught, and gets choked out in the most embarrassing way. And there I am in the toy aisle of Walmart in Louisiana, in the outskirts, I think, cursing my fucking ass off because I had lost so much money on Josh Fremd. And that's when I realized that you can't trust fighters to do what they're supposed to do. Josh Fremd is literally the incarnation of that moment of me being so fucking pissed because he was the better fighter, yet he found a way to lose. And I think that it's really what defines him, unfortunately. Like, I think he is a really good fighter. I think he's got good attributes. He can grapple, he can strike, but he definitely finds ways to lose. And it just kind of broke me. I'm like, I can't trust the man. Knowing that, I'm like, who is this Adikris Dumas? And I've seen him fight before. I saw him fight in the Icon, the George Masvidal shit. And I'm like, he's not too bad. Like, I've seen him get knockouts, and he seems to have a aura of confidence around him where he's like, I'll get the knockout. Don't worry, I'll find it. Like, he has that swagger to him. So I'm like, is there a way that I could potentially bank on Fremd? Like, maybe give him a redemption arc and bet some money on him to beat Adikris Dumas? And I don't see it. I really don't. I think Dumas, that is, he's pretty fucking solid. He can wrestle. He's not the most polished guy. He doesn't do everything technical, but he can still get things done. He's very sneaky with the high kicks. He's very good with the hands. He can wrestle. He can just do it all. Granted, not as cleanly as Josh Fremd can, but I'm fully expecting Josh Fremd to be knocked out by the second round. So Adikris, he's going to be the better fighter, much faster. He's going to have the more power, and I think he's going to finish Josh Fremd pretty early in the first 2 rounds, whether in the first or in the second. Josh might put up a decent amount of fight. He might try to clinch up because that would be the smart thing to do, but I think eventually he's going to get caught. Like, I can see Josh holding him up against the cage and just kind of like trying to tire him out, and then Dumas just kind of shimmies off, finds the angle, lands an elbow, and knocks him out. I might not bet this one just because I'm still salty about the whole Fremd thing, so I don't want Fremd to like actually beat him. I'd be pissed. But I do thoroughly think that Dumas, despite like the little controversy around him, is pretty solid. Like, that confidence goes a long way, and that's really his biggest attribute. Like, me writing that down, like, this guy is so sure that he's gonna win that he's gonna win. Like, I just see himself being so patient. He's not going to overestimate himself or doubt himself. Say if he gets taken down and he gets dominated in the first round, I know he's going to think like, it's all good. I'm going to find the knockout anyways, and he fucking will against Josh Fremd. So I'll go with Dumas, second round knockout. And we'll see what happens. I'm interested in this fight mainly to see if Josh looks any better. Frankly, to see if I'm right about him, like that he's going to find a way to lose, because I think he's going to look decent because he's a solid guy. But I think what I wrote about him is that where is this fucking dude? Yeah, he to me seems like he's not quite UFC ready. Like they gave him a fight he could win, and I know guys get caught. Shit happens all the time, but that was like, dude, that was unnecessary. Like that was like a really low IQ thing. Why are you going for a takedown on a guy you were beating on the feet? Like, whatever. I don't want to make excuses for him, but yeah, Dumas. Keep calling him Dumont. I got big booty on the mind. Dumas, second round knockout.
This is, yeah, I think they're trying to feed this guy. And I guess they're trying to like set up baby steps. I guess they see they see potential in this guy. Yeah, I guess I'll go with him as well. I don't really have any more to add other than I think I still think they misspelled his name, Josh Fremd. Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, he's like 9-4. What the fuck is his UFC record? He's like 0-2 in the UFC.
0-2 in the UFC, yeah. Like the first fight,
Anthony Hernandez.
First fight with Hernandez, understandable. Short notice fight. We get it, right? Second fight, dude. Ugh. I don't know. Maybe I am just too fucking harsh on him because that sting of losing money on a guy that's a better fighter and him losing like that is like, it's like a stain in your fucking soul and you'll never forget it. So maybe I'm just a little salty, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, he's yeah, it doesn't. It's not. Wait, where the fuck was I? Sorry. Yeah, he's probably getting submitted again. I think he's getting like rear naked choked this time.
Oh, you're right. Actually, I forgot to bring that up. Dumas has some pretty sneaky chokes. He actually got a choke, like a standing guillotine in the Contender Series, so he can get a choke too. The guy is he's pretty good.
Yeah, so I'll go with him for now until he fucking loses, and I'll be like,
he sucked the whole fucking time, and
yeah, I'm not betting on him though. So
yeah, I've seen some people take a shot on him. I'm trying to avoid like following that trend because I've seen some dudes going like, I'm going with Tadikris, and I get it. I'm all right. Let's move on to a much better fight. Yeah, I really think this is going to be a fucking banger, man. We've got Rafael Assuncao versus Davy Grant. I mean, both these guys are older, right? They're 40 and 37, but fuck, something about this tells me that it could be fireworks, right? Davy Grant, as of late, he's becoming one of my like favorite fighters to watch because anytime you see his name on the card, you know what he's going to bring to the table, and that's like high energy first round, and he's going to be swinging those hooks to the body and to the head. The guy is like, dude, the guy to me was a guy you would fade all the time, and now he's like let's take a look. Let's take a look to see what we can bring because he's had some really good fights and he's fun to watch. Assuncao, he had a rough timeout, right? Like who did he lose to in his like skid? He lost to, let's bring him up. Shit, he lost to Cody Garbrandt by knockout, which is kind of crazy to think after we saw what Cody has become. But let's take a look. He lost to Marlon Moraes by submission. Understandable, right? That Marlon at that time in 2019 was undeniable. Cody Sandhagen, understandable as well. He fought for the interim title. He's probably going to be fighting for the belt maybe here soon. Cody Garbrandt, that was a nasty hook. Again, understandable, former champion. And then Ricky Simon knocked him out. But Ricky Simon's on a fucking tear right now. Who do we have here? Former title challenger, former champion, and future title challenger, Ricky Simon. So he's fought the top creme de la creme. And yes, you could fucking give me shit for thinking he might have been washed, and then he beats Victor Henry, which was impressive. Like, he found his groove again. Like, he's like, dude, I'm a fucking veteran. Like, I'm better than this shit. And he proved it against Victor Henry. I like Assuncao in this fight. He's the plus 135 underdog against Davy Grant, the minus 165 favorite. What I like about Grant and what makes this fight to me super interesting is that Grant is a fucking killer in the first round. Like, he throws everything hard low kicks, hard hooks, hard body shots, everything. The guy can spin. He's got a solid ground game. It's just that he gasses out later in the round. And I'll say this as well. I kept thinking about this when I was doing tape watch. His fight with Louis Smolka, and maybe you feel the same way, Jose, but I actually like Louis Smolka to the point that I might even ask him for an interview, because he's like, I like Louis Smolka. He seems like my kind of guy. Like, he's always been a guy that I enjoyed in the past. Like, he's had his troubles and he hasn't really had the best time in the UFC, to the point I think he's no longer in the UFC, got released. But I like Louis Smolka. And I say that because Louis Smolka had a really good round against Davy Grant in the second round. And as much as I like Louis, Davy Grant should not be losing rounds to Louis Smolka. I think it was just like, what's going on, man? Like, if Davy Grant gets tired, he's not the same guy. Like, he slows down and he's easily, I guess, you can lead the dance against him. And Rafael Assuncao, given his new game plan as of late of counter striking and just mixing things up and low effort and low volume, at least I'm not certain that's his official new game plan, but that's what he did against Victor Henry. I think Assuncao is the more complete, better fighter, especially on the ground. If he can get Davy Grant to the ground, that's his world. He's going to probably dominate him there and hold him down, or at least control him enough to not get any damage done to him. And then back on the feet, he can land some good shots and win the rounds. Davy's got a really good shot to potentially knock out Assuncao either early, but later on, I just don't see it happening. I think Assuncao is just going to be too good for him. And I think he's a really good plus 140, plus 135 dog in this situation, because as much as I like Davy Grant, him losing that round to Louis Smolka made me like wonder, did he it went through my head real quick, like all the theories that I have. Did he age overnight? Did he like lose his mojo? Like, I know he doesn't necessarily have the best gas tank, but that was a negative sign to me. Like, he got not necessarily lucky that he landed those leg kicks on Smolka that caused him to get the late knockout in the third round. It's just more so that Davy Grant is 37 years old and he's fighting like he's 27 years old. And I don't think he can continue doing that. Assuncao, for his last fight, he fought like a fucking smart 40-year-old man. You know what I mean? Like, he fought to the level of his capabilities, which I was like, when I kind of saw that and kind of clicked to me, I'm like, that's pretty smart, because you're no longer the same guy you were when you were like, say, 5, 6, 7 years ago, where you had that same level of athleticism and dynamics to you. Assuncao's kind of like lowered the caliber of what he can do, but Davy Grant really hasn't done that. Like, he's not 27 anymore. Like, can't keep going out there blasting kicks like that and expect to win a decision if it gets like that. He's almost fighting like he's trying to get the knockout. So because of that, like, it kind of intrigued me. Like, I want to know if I'm right about this one. I'm going to go with the Assuncao by decision, and we'll see. Because again, like, I do see a possibility of Davy Grant getting the knockout, but despite the losing streak of Assuncao, he is still, in my eyes, a much better fighter, and to me, the much more cerebral fighter. And I think with him understanding that he is like, dude, I'm fucking old. I can't keep doing this shit like the way I used to. He's going to just dictate the pace, slow things down, and just win the rounds, not necessarily win the fight. So I'll go with Assuncao by decision.
Yeah, I'll go with Assuncao too. Davy Grant, he just reminds me of some fighter way back when. Shit, his name.
On which picture? My picture or on tap?
Yeah, no, just in general. Shit, it was this dude who was like on this. Fuck, I mean, this probably isn't even gonna narrow it down, but it was like this dude who was on a streak, I think he
Oh,
was about he was about to fight for the title, but then he got fucked, and then like the
oh,
lightweight title.
yeah. TJ Grant.
TJ Grant, yes.
Bad motherfucker TJ Grant.
Yeah.
God, I'm still waiting for his title shot, by the way.
Yeah, man. It's like I don't know. He reminds me of him for some reason.
TJ was a bad motherfucker at lightweight too. Like he was,
Yeah.
and then I think he got in a car accident to the point that like it was bad.
Yeah,
It was
something. I
real bad,
forgot.
dude. Like, ooh, I do miss the guy. Like, I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, I forgot exactly what happened, but he's like. Anyway, I feel bad for him because it's like he's like one of the what could have been, you know.
I think he not necessarily would have won the title. Just to kind of give you the perspective on that, the reason I remember TJ specifically was because the day that title fight happened, it was a Anthony Pettis replaced TJ Grant against Benson Henderson. I was in Milwaukee that time. Like, funny enough, I was in Milwaukee the day
That's
of the
what it
fight.
is.
Yeah,
Or that's what it was.
I was in Milwaukee. I picked up a transmission for my 1980 Mercedes 300D. Drove the bitch back all the way back to where I'm at now in Nebraska, and then I watched the fight. And then I hated Anthony Pettis, and he submits Ben Henderson in the first round. I was fucking pissed, dude. So it's like, God damn it, where's TJ Grant when you need him? Memories, man, memories.
Yeah, well, for TJ anyway.
Yeah.
It's like he's probably like looking right now at like what's his name? Islam, be like, I can beat that motherfucker. But anyway, I'm going with Rafael here. I'll just jump on the bandwagon. I got no real rhyme or reason, but yeah, I'll go with Rafael just because Davey Grant reminds me of TJ. TJ Grant? Was it TJ Grant?
TJ Grant, yeah.
Yeah, that's why it reminds me of him.
All right, let's move on. Next bout. This is a light. This is heavyweight. I thought it was light heavyweight. Heavyweight bout. We've got Lucas Brzeski versus Carl Williams. And I'll be frank, I really thought about taking a shot on Brzeski until I remembered who Brzeski was. But he's plus 145. Come back on Carl Williams is minus 170. A quick lowdown on the prelim main event. Brzeski, very high volume guy. Not necessarily the most power, but he's very high volume. And I think that really suits him at heavyweight. Like he can definitely like outpoint some dudes if they don't have any grappling or wrestling. He seems tired in the second round, even in the first round. Like he's just going all out. It's not like he's got like the most let me try to paint the picture. He throws a lot for heavyweight and he still gets tired, but he doesn't like go bananas and just like bam, 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 bam. He just does enough to make it look like, oh, this guy's got a high output for heavyweight, but he doesn't necessarily know how to maintain that pace because I don't really think he has like a whole ton of power at heavyweight. I think he'd be much suited at light heavyweight. When it comes to his opponent, Carl Williams, I was like, who the fuck is Carl Williams and why is he on my sheet here to do tape watch on? And it's like, oh yeah, that's the guy from the Contender Series who embarrassed the shit out of that Penn State wrestler. And I had to rewatch that fight. And it fucking sucked. It was a terrible fight. Like he out-grappled Jimmy Lawson in the Contender Series, who I think DC was sucking his cock about, like, oh, you're such a good wrestler, Joe. He out-wrestled the dude. He embarrassed him. It was like he did it on short notice too. And I'm watching more tape on the guy, and I was thoroughly unimpressed by Williams. Right, I was like, he's mostly like a grappler. He doesn't really do much with it. When he does strike, it's usually when he's like fighting smaller dudes or guys he knows he's gonna beat up. But yeah, like I'll give him props. Like he ducks under for double legs. Like at heavyweight, he has some decent cardio. He's not necessarily the best, but when I went back and I like compared the two, I'm like, yeah, Carl Williams is gonna probably fuck up Lucas Brzeski. Brzeski, like, in my mind, I thought he beat Boudet because I had money on Boudet, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna lose. And it turns out the judges were so kind to me that night, and Boudet ended up getting the split decision win. But to me, yeah, Brzeski, it looks like he was a former fat boy who dropped a bunch of weight and he started fighting. But I think he can drop a little bit more weight, go down to light heavyweight. I think Carl Williams, although he is roughly the same like size and weight, like 233 pounds. He's just a more physical man. He's just going to be the much more relentless grappler. He's going to actually take down Brzeski. Like if Carl Williams can take down a Penn wrestler, and I say this in jest because not all wrestlers and college whatever athletes are considered the same, because the way he manhandled this fat kid and the Contender Series was embarrassing for Jimmy Lawson. He should never show his face again. I think that Carl Williams is definitely going to get Brzeski down, and he's going to either lay on top of him. If he gets full mount on Brzeski, dear God, man, Breski's going to get sent down to light heavyweight because it's going to be very apparent. I'll go with Carl Williams. He's a minus 170 favorite. I agree with it now. Down the line, though, I think his lack of diversity is going to get shown later in his career. But right now, I think he beats Brzeski pretty decisively, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. Don't really, I don't know. A lot of don't really have a big opinion on a lot of these fights. And I know it sounds like, oh, he's just jumping on the bandwagon, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, when I don't have, I don't know, man. I think I'm just a little, what's the word? Disheartened after last night and my stupid betting decisions. I don't know. I'm just like, all right.
And it happens to the best of us. Well, I saw some dude who bet Manny Martinez, and he was kind of upset because like the fouls and whatnot. But Manny, I took a small shot on Manny as well, even though I picked against him. And it was like, what you got to know what you get yourself into sometimes. So try to mitigate the risk and shit. But I understand, dude. Like it sucks sometimes when you, for example, Valentina, when you're winning. Even though I had a bet with what's her fucking face, Alexa Grasso, who, funny enough, there's a mural already in Mexico of Alexa Grasso. These fucking Mexicans were quick, dude.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was overnight. But yeah, I took a shot on Alexa just because the line is a little too funky, but like you take Valentina by decision and then she's winning the decision and then she makes the one mistake, gets her back taken and gets submitted. It must suck all the energy out of your balls and it sucks ass, dude.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't usually take naps on a Sunday, but today I'm like, all right, we'll fucking record, but I gotta take a nap first. I gotta get the shit out of me. I don't know, man. I mean, it shouldn't affect me as much as it does, but man, piece of shit like that.
Yeah, I was a little butthurt when Charles Johnson lost, but it is what it is for me, man. Like, get better and get more money. But you got Williams on this one?
Yeah, I'll go with Williams as well.
All right. Let's move on to the main card opener. We've got two, I guess, Contender Series guys making, well, I guess one of them is making a debut of Vitor Petrino versus Anton, the Pleasure Man Turkaji. I was almost like sure that this was a fade on Anton, the Pleasure Man, but like, to me, I'll be upfront, man. It's just a pass on this particular fight. We've got Petrino, who's a minus 140, come back on Turkaji, is a plus 115. And it could be that I have some like resentment towards Anton because of like when doing my research on the guy, during the Contender Series when he fought, like he had a horrible fight where he didn't do much. He basically got back control most of the time on his opponent and didn't really do anything with it. And he ended up getting the decision. But during like the interview process in the Contender Series, he's talking about like how he's this and he's that. He's so dynamic and he breaks his opponents. And he's like, ooh, like this guy sounds super cool. Like I see that he's got nothing but finishes on his record. Like I want to see him fight. And then he fights like that. But still, he's like, I'm so handsome and I've got good teeth and they're going to want to sign me up and I've got great hair. And like, he almost seems like more like a model to me. Do you remember the wrestler Tyler Breeze at all?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. The only reason I remember, because I actually met him down in like New Orleans a few years ago. He was just kind of walking around. But he kind of reminds me of him. His gimmick was that he was like a supermodel and he was so pretty and shit. I think his nickname was like Prince Pretty. Unfortunately, I went to Anton's Instagram, and he's got nothing but like selfies and headshots and shit. And I'm like, is this guy like serious about fighting or what the fuck? You know, I just wasn't sure. So yeah, I was like, I don't know about this kid at all. The other side, when it comes to Petrino, the Petrino to me, let me take a look here real quick. Petrino to me looks a little too good to be true, if that makes any sense. Like he hits fucking hard. He has good volume. He attacks the body well. The guy's 7-0 undefeated. Fucking built like he was chiseled out of the abs of Paulo Costa. The guy's absolutely fucking shredded. And he had a really good showing of himself in the Contender Series where he knocked out a guy he had already knocked out before. He had a bit of an issue in that fight where he kind of got dropped, and then he came back and ended up winning the fight. He actually fought someone outside of the UFC that was a former UFC fighter in Antigulov. He beat the shit out of Antigulov. Like, I wanted to make sure, what is his grappling like? He was able to fend takedowns and beat the shit out of Antigulov, who's a wrestler himself. The issue with Petrino, why I say he's a little too good to be true, is that like he should come out here and he should finish Anton in spectacular fashion, because Anton doesn't necessarily have what I like to consider good skills. Like, he's got his skill set of like going for the takedown, going for rear naked chokes, getting on top of people, but he hasn't really been beating good competition. He allegedly trains at All-Star with like Chimaev and Gustafsson, but as I mentioned earlier, like he might be the punching bag for these guys, like the rag doll for Chimaev, and he's kind of learning little techniques from him. So he's good enough to like maybe control you on the ground and take you down and keep you there and potentially win rounds like that. Or if you get too exhausted beating his ass, he can definitely take advantage. I can see that happening here. I'm going to go with Petrino to win. I'm going to say first round knockout because that's what should happen, because I think Petrino in that first round, 2 rounds, definitely way fucking better than Anton. My biggest worry on betting this one is that if Anton survives, or if he can stifle Petrino in any way, get him up against the cage, tire him out, I think Anton can definitely win a really lackluster decision here, possibly a split. And I'll stay away from it now. If Vitor Petrino can knock this guy out, we can talk at that point. But yeah, I think at those odds, it's just, I'd rather stay away from it. But I've got Petrino to win first round knockout. But again, as much as I don't like Anton and his skill set, I find nothing about his skill set to be too over the top or too impressive. Nothing to write home about. It's an interesting enough style to really be able to take advantage of a guy who so heavily muscular that could gas out if he gasses out. So I'll go with Petrino round number 1 knockout, but again, staying the fuck away from it.
Yeah, I'm going with Petrino too. I don't think Anton is the next. What's that guy's name from Sweden as well?
Gustafsson.
Gustafsson, yeah.
Gustafsson.
I don't think he's in this. He's the next Goose. Yeah, that. I'm hoping he isn't training with Goose at the very least. But yeah, I don't have much more to add on this fight either. I'm going with Petrino. He is a slight favorite. He's I guess he's 1 year younger. That makes him a little shorter, but yeah, I don't know, man. This guy Goose has to do better than he did against Almeida for sure. Otherwise, he's gonna get kind of fucked here.
I will give him that. Like, if I had to give him a compliment sandwich of like, you suck ass, you survived Almeida a good amount of time, you're a piece of shit. I think that's the compliment sandwich I would give him. Like, he at least survived Almeida for a good amount of time. Most other people would have given up by then. But let's move on. I don't like this fight. But this fight coming up at bantamweight, this fight is very intriguing as shit to me, because like it's not as simple. Like, I thought I knew, but maybe not. We've got Said Nurmagomedov versus Jonathan Dragon Martinez. Nurmagomedov minus 195. Come back on Martinez plus 160. They are nearly virtually identical. Pardon me. 5'8" for both, and then a slight advantage in reach for Nurmagomedov by half an inch. What intrigues me about this fight is that I instantly thought, like, yeah, Nurmagomedov's going to come in here and knock out that half salvi chin of Jonathan Martinez, which, if you are inclined to the genetics of Hispanics, we have the Mexican chin, and then the Salvadorian chin's way down here. Unfortunately, he's half and half, so you can't really trust Martinez's chin sometimes. Sometimes it's Mexican, a lot of the time it's Salvadorian, and he's been dropped a lot of times by guys that should not be dropping this guy. So when I thought about that, I'm like, yeah, I think Nurmagomedov goes in there, finds a chin, he gets a knockout and gets a $50K bonus, goes about his business. Because I'm like, why are they giving him Jonathan Martinez? He's on a 4-fight win streak. I get it, but he hasn't really been fighting the top level competition or better competition at all that Nurmagomedov has been fighting. Like, Nurmagomedov is listed as number 11, and he's fighting Jonathan Martinez, who's number 23. And I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, Nurmagomedov, going back and watching tape on him, yes, he's dynamic, but I think he leaves a lot of openings that people can take advantage of. Like, definitely his last fight against Said Yakub, Nurmagomedov, or Romanov, he got grappled up a little bit. Like, granted, he got the choke immediately, but the Cock was able to get out of it. He eventually got that choke in the second round after Romanov got a little bit tired. But it showed that Nurmagomedov's gas tank, it's questionable at least. But the guy is a dynamic striker, excellent kicker, loves to be outside in the distance. They both like to be outside in distance. When it comes down to the game plans, I think Said obviously loves the spin. He definitely has the more opportunistic grappling when it comes to the chokes. The front chokes of his are fantastic. The differences is in regards to the power. Jonathan Martinez, I think, throws a lot harder when it comes to the kicks. He's a southpaw, throws beautiful kicks to the body, good knees to the inside, up the middle. That is, those leg kicks of his, though, are probably the biggest attribute that he has. Inside low kicks, outside low kicks, they fucking hurt. He TKO'd Cub Swanson his last fight out, and like, Cub is definitely up in age and shit, but to beat him up like that, he's been knocked out before, but to knock him out via leg kicks was pretty impressive. The guy kicks super fucking hard. But again, like, the guy is fighting dudes that he should easily beat, guys that Nurmagomedov would have ran through. He would have ran through Cub. He would have ran through Morales, easily finished him. He would have finished Perez, and he would have definitely finished Dvalishvili. Where I'm more concerned about is that if, say, Nurmagomedov continues to kind of keep doing those little stupid mistakes, like going for unopportunistic spins, and Jonathan Martinez can take over. Realistically, though, I still think that Nurmagomedov is the better fighter, period. Like, he's fought the better competition. He's proved himself more. He's gone through the fire a little bit more than Jonathan Martinez and survived. I mean, Jonathan Martinez is the guy who got knocked out by Davy Grant, a fight he should not have lost. And that kind of gives me everything I need to know. I do think Jonathan is a tough out. I think he's going to have some really good moments here, like, to the point that you're going to be like I was when Dricus du Plessis kind of got grapple fucked in that first round. And I had shit ton of units on him. I'm like, oh fuck. But that second round and third round, it's going to be fine. Like, eventually, I think Said's going to find the chin, either drop Martinez, hurt Martinez, or finish Martinez, period. I just think that Said's going to be the more dangerous guy and the guy that has the more likelihood path to a knockout and a finish. So I'll go with Nurmagomedov second round TKO over Jonathan Martinez. It sucks because I like Martinez. It's just I don't know why they're skyrocketing him against Nurmagomedov so quickly. I think there are better matchups for him that avoid him getting cracked in the mouth. But we'll see. Like, the way he looked against Cub Swanson was like, this guy's a fucking killer. But again, that was Cub Swanson dropping down to bantamweight. So they might be looking at him with rose-colored glasses, but I'll go with Nurmagomedov round number 2 TKO.
I'm actually going with Nurmagomedov second round rear naked choke. I think he's going to take his back And he's gonna make Khabib proud. He's made like, look, I also do Poirier.
Oh shit. Poirier. I hate Poirier, man. Swamp trash.
Yeah, I think they've got to give him a title shot against Islam, and then
I'd love that, dude. Like, I'd be rooting for Islam.
No, and then so he can be the only guy in the history of the UFC to get rear naked choked in 3 title fights against 3 different contenders, or against 3 different champions, I should say.
That's a dream, my friend. It's like people were given I think during Mardi Gras, some guy was like flipping off Poirier. He had like the sign that said "Your wife's in my DMs," and I guess Poirier kind of slapped at him and shit. Like that would also be me. It's just like, but I would be more harsh as to what I wrote on my sign.
Wait, isn't it? What's the other guy? Justin Gaethje. He's the other guy who.
Yeah, I guess.
Who should be?
Justin's not going to make it to another title shot anytime soon. Let's just say that.
No, I mean he's the other guy who should be getting a title shot and then getting submitted by 3 different champs.
Oh shit, you're right. I forgot that. Imagine, dude, like you retire over submitting Justin Gaethje. Like Justin's cool and all, but like, and never mind. I don't want to get into that argument about Khabib. But you've got Saeed, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I said Saeed.
It's funny when I'm writing notes about Saeed, it's just like it throws me the fuck off. Yeah. English, motherfucker, do you speak it? Let's move on to the next fight. We've got at featherweight Ricardo Ramos versus Austin Lingo. I'm like, where the fuck has Austin Lingo been, man? He hasn't fought since Aldana beat his ass and then got tired and then let Lingo win about a year and a half ago. Ricardo Ramos minus 300 come back on. Lingo is plus 230. I honestly considered this one to be an easy fate of Lingo, but going back, watching tape, Lingo's a tough guy. He's definitely a lot tougher and more skilled than I gave him credit for. Good boxer, apparently black belt in Taekwondo. He is banging a super hot brown sugar mama. Like, I don't know how Austin Lingo pulled that, but this girl's super hot. Fighting out of Fortis MMA. The guy's definitely tough. He's going to be the taller guy by an inch, and he's going to have, I guess, no reach advantage here. It's going to be to Ramos. My concern with this fight, if I'm betting Ramos, which I consider to be the much better fighter, I think of him almost identical to Luis Aldana, but he's just better everywhere else. Like, he's not going to gas himself out beating the shit out of Austin Lingo. He's going to have the better wrestling, the better cardio, the better striking, just overall better fighter than Austin Lingo. It's kind of silly to me to think that Austin Lingo's fighting a guy like Ricardo Ramos, but we'll see, man. Like, I'm to the point that it's like I might be a little too much on the favor of Ramos, a little too confident in him that maybe Austin Lingo can like use that negative juju that I'm producing by being like, yeah, Ricardo's going to whip his ass, to somehow gather some cosmic energy to fuck me on my bets. But I do think Ramos is going to win this one by a submission. I just think he's better everywhere. Like, on the feet, it could be a little dicey, but the jiu-jitsu that Ramos has, I think, is going to be too much for Austin Lingo. I think that if it gets a little hairy on the feet, because Austin does have some power in his punches, the guy hits hard. He's good. He's good on the feet. It's just, I think it's just a bad matchup for him. And him being away, a year and a half? That year and a half is a double-edged sword for me, because it could be like, yeah, he spent a year and a half like recuperating. I think he hurt himself against Saldana. Saldana cracked him in the ribs a lot. But that could be like an indicator that like he spent time trying to perfect his game and getting better and everywhere, like training, takedown defense and choke defense and shit like that. So it concerns me. And the other end, it could be that like he was really hurt and now he's coming back and his timing's going to be off and he, shit like that. So, but I'm fairly confident that Ricardo Ramos, who again, he's the much better fighter. Yes, he's been knocked out before. Fought the way better competition though, man. Like, he's fought the likes of like Zubaira Tukhugov, Bill Algeo, man. Algeo, good fucking fighter. Lerone Murphy. I think he wins this one by a second round submission.
I'm also going with Ricardo. I think it's going to go to decision. I don't think it's going to be a finish. But then again, I thought, what was it last night? I thought the Tabitha Ricci Jessica Penne fight was going to go to decision, and then the what was the other one? The Ribas Araujo fight was going to end in some sort of finish. So what the fuck do I know?
It's a fun sport, isn't it? That's, I gotta say, dude, like I always find it interesting that you try to predict this sport sometimes, and the moment you're wrong, people jump all over you. Like even if you make a bold ass prediction, like Alexa Grasso is gonna submit fucking Valentina in the 4th round after Valentina makes a boneheaded mistake, people call you a retard and you don't know the fucking sport. Then it happens, and then you're the genius. Just the sport is fucking funky. Like I don't ever give shit to anyone who like predicts something that might be like almost astronomically out of this fucking world. Like Austin Lingo's gonna get a go-go plata on Ricardo Ramos, because I have been watching this fucking sport long enough to know that literally any fucking thing can happen. So Baby Shark getting a submission over Jessica Penne, it happened.
Yeah. Should have seen that one coming at least.
I knew it was a possibility, but dude, that fight to me was like god awful, man. Like I'd never want to watch Tabitha Ricci fight again. But let's move on to something more interesting. We've got at light heavyweight, Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann taking place on this card now, because Krylov got injured or got sick or some shit, and now it's taking place on this card. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because we did the whole breakdown last time. It's just kind of, I don't know about it anymore. I initially had Krylov to win because I thought he was just a better fighter, but with the unknown illness, that really worries me. Like had he fought with whatever illness he had at the time, like Ryan Spann probably would have beat his ass. I think it goes over to Ryan Spann's favor, like going to pick him by a finish. He is currently plus 165. Come back on Krylov is minus 190. I'll just say this. I'll stick with my original prediction of Krylov by finish. I'll say in the 2nd round. And the reasons were I think he's just the tougher guy. He's good everywhere. Spann absolutely has the great chance to get a finish in here, either via his chokes or by a knockout. I would say less likely a knockout. He'll probably hurt Krylov and get him by a choke, because Krylov's never been knocked out. But I think it's first time for everything, right? Being that it's a 3-round fight now, it's probably more so in the favor of Spann, where he can kind of go buck wild more so in the 1st round, because he would still have maybe a little bit of reserve tank of energy to go the next 2. With the 5-round fight, it would have been a little bit more of a slower pace. It's a tough one now that we know it's a 3-round fight with the looming unknown of Nikita Krylov's illness. I'll stick with Krylov just based off of my previous prediction, but I'm not touching this one. I think I had a bet on Krylov prior to the fight getting canceled last time out. I'm not going to touch this one at all. I'm just going to enjoy the shit out of it because it's going to end probably under. I might just take the under, actually. Why not?
Yeah, I'm going all out on Krylov, man. He owes me. No, he doesn't owe me shit, but I think he's gonna win. I think Ryan Spann is, I don't know.
He's a little bit untrustworthy. He's a little I don't know, man. Like during his interviews, he was kind of sounding a little too confident. Like maybe his head wasn't really all that focused. I know he's been dealing with like anxiety, and he's been working with with a therapist and stuff like that, which is definitely helpful. But what if he doesn't get cream cheese on his bagel and he crumbles that fucking morning? Like, I don't want to be thinking about that. Yeah, I've seen him kind of crumble a few times in there. Like he makes some bad decisions, but he's a fucking unit, man. He's a big boy and he hits hard and he's skilled. Just that Can't trust him to win a fight all the time.
Yeah, true.
All right, moving on, co-main event. Alexander Volkov versus Alexander Romanov at heavyweight co-main. Currently, the odds have in favor of Romanov minus 135. Come back on Volkov plus 110. This one, I don't really have much of an opinion on, just because like it's definitely a fun heavyweight fight, but it's kind of the story writes itself, right? Volkov has to keep it standing. Romanov has to keep it on the ground. He has to get it to the ground first, try to go for a submission. How it should go. This is how the fight absolutely should go. It shouldn't go any other fucking way. Romanov has to go for a takedown in the first round, and he has to go for a submission. Don't try to knock out Volkov. Go for a straight arm lock, just like Aspinall did. Win the fight, move on. We forget that the horrible performance against Marcin Tybura ever happened. And I'm not giving him shit for losing to Tybura, because I think a lot of people had Tybura to win that fight, whether if it was a live betting situation or you had a ticket on him prior to the fight starting. It's like it was kind of known, like, this guy kind of gasses out. What I won't fucking ever forgive Romanov for is the fact that he kind of likes milking the fake nut shots, right? Like he that pisses me off. But the actual thing that really bothered me the most was in the third round, I believe, against Tybura, instead of striking and trying to win the fight, he was like shaking his ass to him, like, "Hey, come and get me." I'm like, that's when I knew this kid is he's 32 years old, but like he's not a mature fighter. Like he's just more so of a bully. Like if he can't get you down to the ground, he really has no other option. He kind of fucking sucks on the feet. And if I was Volkov and his strategy, because I've seen how Volkov has been looking lately, the dude is fucking jacket like a motherfucker. He's looking great. He looks like Mr. Olympia out there with his tan and shit. And the guy is definitely training his jiu-jitsu. If Alexander Romanov doesn't get the opportune position on Volkov, and Volkov somehow has been training to get what's that?
Oh no, it's RoboCop, I think.
All right. If Volkov has been training to get like recover guard off of his back, got the long legs, he's a big boy, 6'7". He can definitely survive that first round against Romanov, tire him out, maybe land a couple elbows here and there off the bottom, and then come, say, round number 2, where we know Alexander Romanov is going to tire out a little bit. He can use his longer reach by 5 inches, his definite power that he's been developing now that he's been kind of gaining a little bit more weight and keeping that weight with the more muscle. The guy knocked out fucking Biggie Boy with like one of the most beautiful right hands I've ever seen. He kind of just like was peppering him a little bit. Here's what I really liked about Volkov as of late. Like he doesn't necessarily have the biggest power. He doesn't throw everything at 100% power. He throws kind of things like light, like maybe allegedly like a hard right hand. But when he has you in the right position, he will throw that right hand at full power, and it's going to be like, what the fuck? That's what I like about Volkov. Like he mixes up the power in his punches a little bit. But yeah, like if Volkov can survive that first round, not get submitted or get TKO'd by the fat boy and Romanov, I think he's got a really good chance to beat him in the later rounds, possibly even finish him. Just prod to the body, get him tired, come to the third round. If it's still a fight, neither guy's been finished, I think he can actually finish Romanov. You know what? I had Romanov first round submission. I'm going to go Volkov third round knockout, just because fuck Romanov, man. Fuck this kid. I've got Volkov third round knockout. Not necessarily because I truly believe that's going to happen or that's the logical bet I want to go with. Mostly out of fucking spite. So I will go third round Volkov TKO.
Yeah, man. Ever since that Juan Espino fight, man, I've been sour with this guy. Like, what a fucking puss. I think, I think that sounds about right. I think he's gonna like come out in the first round, try to wrestle fuck Volkov. Volkov, I think, is going to stuff it. Kind of, throw a few jabs, crosses, straights, fuck him up a little bit. In the second round, he's going to, try some of the same shit. He's going to fuck him up a little bit more with the jabs and whatnot. And then in the third round, he's going to, hit him in the breadbasket. And, I think he's going to fuck him up like Stipe Cormier 3.
That'd be nice. You know what? I kept thinking, like, in full disclosure, man, like, I really do think Romanov is more than likely going to get that submission in the first round because, like, he is so good in that first round and getting people down. But because I'm so salty about Romanov and how much I kind of dislike him, I will be putting a bet on Volkov to win. Plus 110, fuck it, why not? Like, even though, like, deep in my heart, I know he's probably going to lose, I don't fucking care. I'm going to do it anyway. So I will officially be playing Volkov at plus whatever odds I can get to beat this cunt. Probably no dick having Alexander Romanov.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Spite power, baby. So let's move on to the main event, dude, because I'm dying to talk about the main event. The fucking main event, man. Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. Taking place at bantamweight, 5-round main event. No mercy versus the machine, Dvalishvili. Plus 190 for Merab. Come back on Petr Yan, minus 245. I don't know why I was just talking like a baseball announcer there. Dude, Sarah Longo product in Merab Dvalishvili. This fight intrigued the shit out of me, like, looking into it, because, like, Petr Yan is in this weird mythical spot where he's the former champion, never defended his belt. He lost it via disqualification. He couldn't regain it again, even though he actually beat Corey Sandhagen for the interim belt. He couldn't get the belt back from Aljo in the second fight. And I was like dying to talk about that second fight because, like, there's all this thing about the robbery, this and that. And I had to put on my judge hat, watch the fight again, and I came to a solid conclusion that Petr Yan indeed actually lost that fucking fight to Aljo, the second fight. It bummed me out when I kind of saw it. I'm like, shit, because the first 3 rounds, round number 1 was in debate, round number 2 was Aljo, 3 was Aljo, the last 2 were 100% Yan. So the main deciding factor was round number 1. So I rewatched round number 1. I remember watching it live thinking that's really close, but I think Petr Yan won it. Here's what's crazy about watching a fight live as a fan and not necessarily watching it as a judge, because I kind of catch myself going back and revisiting shit as I'm watching it as a fan. Like, I think one guy won, but, like, as I'm, like, watching it as an official judge, it's like, what an interesting round. It was too fucking close to call because Petr Yan was doing a lot of the advancing, but Aljo was doing a lot more with the strikes. He was kicking better. He was landing the more significant strikes, if you will, even though neither guy really did anything. So at that point, you have to kind of consider, like, who do you give the round to? A guy moving forward, not really doing anything, cutting off the cage, or the champion, unfortunately, having that champion's advantage, actually landing the cleaner strikes. He was more so attacking the body with kicks. And unfortunately, I would have given it to Aljo, and it fucking sucks, man. I hate saying it, but Aljo edged out that first round. And what I hate the most is that I think Petr Yan let that round go. I think Petr Yan could have definitely won it, but fuck, man, it sucks to say out loud, but I don't think he ever in his fucking life considered that Aljo was going to be able to take his back in the first 2 rounds. I thought he was like, oh, first round, don't worry about it. And it ended up biting him in the ass. In his next fight against Sean O'Malley, he lost that one too, very, very close. The thing is that, like, Petr Yan, he has been training to fight Aljo 2 camps now. He's definitely gotten better. His takedown defense is good. He's got the better output. He's a much more complete fighter. He's got better striking. He's got good cardio. He's been 5 rounds. But Merab also has that fucking game plan that that Aljo, because Aljo's his fucking BFF and his butt buddy, and the guy,
Yeah.
the guy is a mystery to me because you could bet this guy and just make a shit ton of money, but he's now fighting a former champion. He's fighting a guy who's very good. Merab got hurt by Marlon Moraes, and granted, he came back, he recovered, he looked great. I do wonder that if Merab, a guy who uses his wrestling to dictate a pace, and then also if it's a wrestler versus wrestler, he has a higher output, so he knows how to win these fights. A guy like Petr Yan, who's much better than him on paper, in my opinion, other than the wrestling, if he starts putting it on him early and later, like what's going to happen to Merab? I am curious about it. Like if Merab wins this fight, it's not going to be by a finish. He's not going to finish Petr Yan. He's going to have to slightly edge him out each round to win the moments, holding him up against the cage, just like he did against Aljo, or not Aljo, I'm sorry, Aldo. I don't know if he can do that to a guy as talented as Petr Yan. But again, like the issue that I have with like betting Yan is that he is the heavy favorite in a fight that should be a lot closer. He's minus 245 than plus 190 in Dvalishvili. What bothers me the most is Petr Yan mentally there? Like, is he like, I know he's training hard, but like, is he going to crack in there? Is he going to be like a guy who's been knocked out and be like, I don't want to lose a decision again, and maybe do shit that he shouldn't be doing, and that causes him to get taken down. He can't get back up. The differences, obviously, in this fight compared to the Aljo, if you're using Aljo as a measuring stick, as someone that could potentially hold down Petr Yan, Merab is probably stronger than Aljo, but he doesn't have the physical attributes that he has. He's not lanky, and he's not a better backpack. And you have to remember that, like, Aljo wasn't necessarily able to hold down Petr Yan other than controlling him with the body triangle, which puts another level of like, maybe this is Petr Yan's fight to truly lose. He's going to have to do something royally fucking dumb to lose this fight. I do think that Petr Yan is the better fighter, complete fighter. He's devastatingly good. It's just that we've seen him lose twice very closely in these really close fights, and I think it does something psychologically to the fans where it's like, is he that good? Like, the guy is fucking really good, man. The way he was stuffing takedowns later in the rounds against Aljo. Aljo got tired. Petr Yan didn't. Like, the guy takes a while sometimes to get the ball rolling. And I think in the later rounds, we're going to see Petr Yan complete everything perfectly. He's going to be attacking the body, defending takedowns, landing knees, spinning wheel kicks. I think he's going to be landing hard on Merab. And I think the game plan is how it should be. Damage Merab a lot. Damage the eyes, damage the legs, damage the body. Slow him down enough to make it a, I guess, fairer fight when it comes to the cardio versus cardio aspect. So I do think that Petr Yan has a more likelihood of getting a finish, and that's what I'm going to predict. 4th round TKO over Merab Dvalishvili. I'm rooting for Petr Yan because, like, if Petr Yan loses another fight, it's like, shit, psychologically, it's like, this guy sucks. I don't want that to happen. But I would also not want to see Merab enter the title picture at all after that last fight against Aldo, man. Like, not necessarily because I'm like, oh, you retired Aldo with a shitty fight. It's like, I don't want to see that kind of shit, man. The fights are going to get a lot harder for Merab, and for him to be like, I'll just hold the motherfuckers up against the cage. It's not something I want to watch for my like title fights or main events. So Petr Yan, to me, absolutely has to win this fight for the good of the nation. So I'll go Petr Yan, 4th round TKO.
I'm actually, this is one of those where I'd like Yan to win because I like him as champion, you know, especially seeing him. What I'd like to see is, you know, Krusty the Clown fight Al-Jemima, beat Al-Jemima, and then Yan come in to challenge Krusty the Clown, beat him, and then, you know, continue on as champion. I think that would be pretty funny.
Yeah, I would love, dude. That'd be one of the funniest memes ever if Sean O'Malley knocks out Aljamain Sterling. That'd just make my life complete.
Yeah, if he, you know, however he beats him. If he wins, Yeah, that'll be funny. But it'll be funnier if Yan comes in and beats his ass, for the championship, and then just moves on from there. But he's got to get past Merab, and I think Merab is he's one letter short from being an Arab, or sounding like an Arab. Um, and but his Yeah, man. I mean, the one thing I am worried about is the consistent like takedowns. I think in the first probably 2 rounds he'll be able to stuff them, but then I see this fight going 3-2 for Merab. To be honest, I think his grappling is going to take over at least 3 out of the 5 rounds. Um, I think Yan is going to fuck him up 2 of those rounds on his feet. But he's going to succumb to that Georgian wannabe Dagestani wrestling, chain wrestling. He's going to be, I think, relentless with it, and I think he's going to get the decision. Unfortunately, I want Yan to win. I'm not going to bet on this fight, but it would be. It would be nice to see Yan win because I like him as a fighter. I still do think he's the best fighter in that division, despite being kind of ragdoll. Well, not ragdoll. Maybe that's not the right word. But just kind of out grappled on the ground. So, yeah. I mean, I'm going to go with Merab, but I'm hoping Yan does either get the finish, a convincing finish, so that he's back in the kind of contendership. Because otherwise it's going to be. I mean, who would be next in line? If Merab wins, would it be Marlon Moraes? What's the other? Marlon Vera?
Marlon Vera. Well, I guess they're doing a potential title eliminator with Marlon and Corey. So, dude, imagine if they do okay, let's just say Merab wins this fight, and hypothetically, let's just say that Aljo loses to Henry. They're going to do potentially Merab versus Henry would be actually an interesting fight. But my thought process is in a world where they might do a title eliminator for Henry, which would be Merab versus Cheeto, which also would be a really good fight. But I would just hate to see Merab just I lay on top of you. And to be honest, that's a little cruel against Merab because he's a great fighter. It's just that that really left a sour taste in my mouth, which I shouldn't hold that against him. He had to win, he won, but there's just a little too many questions when it comes to how elite is he. I know how good his wrestling is. I know how good of a fighter he is to win decisions and whatnot. But when it comes to the upper echelon of the division, is he able to really truly beat the top level guys? Can he, say for example, if they decide to match him up and they agree to fight, can he beat Aljo? I would find that interesting because they kind of match each other so well. Can he beat Henry? Can he beat Cheeto? I'd be interested to see if he can beat these top dudes, and if he can become champion, because I think if he does become champion, it wouldn't be a guy who would keep a long reign. Just my personal observations on the guy is just he's not the most complete guy to be as dominant, because I've seen how Marlon was able to stuff takedowns being so athletic. The guy's not necessarily the most devastating takedown artist. It's just that he continuously goes for takedowns and he doesn't get tired, which within itself is a good quality. But when you can't necessarily control dudes on the ground and dominate them on the ground, that's the extra step we need to see for you to be a devastating champ. And I just don't see that quite yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that I have anything against guys taking them down. It's just that, I don't know. I guess maybe it stems back for my disdain for George St. Pierre and his boring ass style. where he would, it's like he would just take people down for the sake of scoring the points of taking them down and lying on top of them, versus like, Khabib or even Fedor, when he took guys down, they would take them down with the purpose of either ground and pound or trying to submit them, versus just taking somebody down and lying on top of them. Not a very exciting fight. I don't really like that. So that's my big thing. If you're gonna take them down, it's got to be for to either try to pass for either ground and pound or to try to set up a submission. But anyway, yeah. So I'm going with Merab, but again, my heart, it's with Yan, because I do think the most potentially the most exciting fights would involve Yan. It's like Yan versus if he rematches Krusty for the title or something. Yan versus Cheeto. Yan versus Sanhagen again if he does it, or even Yan versus Henry. It's like he's to me he's that exciting guy in the division. That can make any fight exciting. I mean, he's even going to make this fight exciting with Merab, and Merab's not. It's like, who the fuck is it? Who gives a shit if realistically, who gives a shit if Merab fights? Nobody's like, oh man, it's a Merab fight. Let's go watch it.
Let's not have sex with our girlfriends and go see this at the bar. Like, I'd rather have sex with my girlfriend than go see Merab fight. But if Petr Yan's fighting, well, boy, let's hang out with the boys. I can ejaculate later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fun note. Funny enough, like I think Chris Weidman told a story about how Merab Dvalishvili beat the shit out of Kevin James. I guess Kevin James goes out there and he like tries to train, and Merab didn't know that who Kevin James was. He didn't know that he was Paul Blart, and I guess Kevin's like, yeah, he beat the shit out of me, not knowing that I was an actor. Yeah, I guess Merab. This is what Kevin James said. He's like, yeah, I go to the gym and I'm training, and they pair me up with Merab, and I guess Merab, being the smaller guy, wanted to prove something, so he's beating the shit out of me. And I'm like, dude, I'm an actor. So it's like Merab seems like a cool dude, like outside of the cage, and like is kind of a weird little style. He also bangs uggos, so he's a man after my own heart. So Merab seems like a cool dude. I like Merab. It's just that, man,
Wait, how do you know?
How do I know that he bangs uggos? Well, my friend, that's something called the internet. There's a picture of him like with some chicks. I don't know if he was in Jamaica, and he's got like all these girls, and he's just like fucking grinning ear to ear with them, like 4 chicks, and they're just like low level ladies, and he's like, I'm gonna fuck all of them out of once. I'm like, Merab, my boy. I get a feeling that Merab makes these girls tap out, if you know what I mean. And he's like, Mwah. Oh man,
that's hilarious.
Well, that's a good way to end this show. But yeah, we'll see how this goes out. I'm excited about this main event next week. Funny enough, we've got the London card. We've got Usman versus Edwards 3. I'm excited about that one. Hopefully we get a similar outcome. But that's been Johnny Jose, Tiger Bomb MMA. Do not subscribe, do not like, do not leave a comment. Go fuck yourself, and we'll see you next week.